air to flow through the car when parked. Two models of the 2010 Toyota Prius include this feature as an option. 113. Safety. Side impact test of a Tesla Model X. The safety issues of BEVs are largely dealt with by the international standard ISO 6469. This document is divided into 3 parts dealing with specific issues on board electrical energy storage, i.e. the battery. 114. Functional safety means and protection against failures. 115. Protection of persons against electrical hazards. 116. Weight. The weight of the batteries themselves usually makes an EV heavier than a comparable gasoline vehicle. In a collision, the occupants of a heavy vehicle will, on average, suffer fewer and less serious injuries than the occupants of a lighter vehicle. Therefore, the additional weight brings safety benefits to the occupant, while increasing harm to this. 117. On average, an accident will cause about 50% more injuries to the occupants of a 2,000 pound, 900 kilograms, vehicle than those in a 3,000 pound, 1,400 kilograms, vehicle. 118. Heavier cars are more dangerous to people outside the car if they hit a pedestrian or another vehicle. 119. Stability. The battery in skateboard configuration lowers the center of gravity, increasing driving stability, lowering the risk of an accident through loss of control. 120. If there is a separate motor near or in each wheel, this is claimed to be safer due to better handling. 121. Risk of fire. Like their ICE counterparts, electric vehicle batteries can catch fire after a crash or mechanical failure. 122. Plug-in electric vehicle fire incidents have occurred, albeit fewer per distance traveled than ICE vehicles. 123. Some cars' high-voltage systems are designed to shut down automatically in the event of an airbag deployment. 124. 125. And in case of failure, firefighters may be trained for manual high-voltage system shutdown. 126. 127. Much more water may be required than for ICE car fires, and a thermal imaging camera is recommended to warn of possible reignition of battery fires. 128. 129. Controls. As of 2018, most electric cars have similar driving controls to that of a car with a conventional automatic transmission. Even though the motor may be permanently connected to the wheels through a fixed ratio gear, and no parking pole may be present, the modes P and N are often still provided on the selector. In this case, the motor is disabled in N and an electrically actuated handbrake provides the P mode. In some cars, the motor will spin slowly to provide a small amount of creep in D, similar to a traditional automatic transmission car. 130. When an internal combustion vehicle's accelerator is released, it may slow by engine braking, depending on the type of transmission and mode. EVs are usually equipped with regenerative braking that slows the vehicle and recharges battery somewhat. 131. Regenerative braking systems also decrease the use of the conventional brakes, similar to engine braking in an ICE vehicle, reducing brake wear and maintenance costs. Batteries. Nissan Leaf battery pack. Lithium-ion based batteries are often used for their high power and energy density. 132. Batteries with different chemical compositions are becoming more widely used, such as lithium iron phosphate, which is not dependent on nickel and cobalt, so can be used to make cheaper batteries and thus cheaper cars. 133. Range. Comparison of EPA-rated range for model year 2020 electric cars rated up until January 2020. Comparison of EPA-rated range for model year 2020 electric cars rated up until January 2020, 134. The range of an electric car depends on the number and type of batteries used and, as with all vehicles, the aerodynamics, weight and type of vehicle performance requirements, and the weather. 135. Cars marketed for mainly city use are often manufactured with a short-range battery to keep them small and light. 136. Most electric cars are fitted with a display of the expected range. This may take into account how the vehicle is being used and what the battery is powering. However, since factors can vary over the route, the estimate can vary from the actual range. The display allows the driver to make informed choices about driving speed and whether to stop at a charging point en route. Some roadside assistance organizations offer charge trucks to recharge electric cars in case of emergency. 137. Charging. BYD E6 is able to recharge to 80% in 15 minutes. iOS 8 has a swappable battery pack connectors. Most electric cars use a wired connection to supply electricity for recharging. Electric vehicle charging plugs are not universal throughout the world. However, vehicles using one type of plug are generally able to charge at other types of charging stations through the use of plug adapters. 138. The Type 2 connector is the most common type of plug, but different versions are used in China and Europe. 139. 140. The Type 1, also called SAE J1772, connector is common in North America. 141. 142, but rare elsewhere, as it does not support 3-phase charging. 143. Wireless charging, either for stationary cars or as an electric road. 144, is less common as of 2021, but is used in some cities for taxis. 145. 146. Home charging. Electric cars are usually charged overnight from a home charging station, sometimes known as a charging point, wall box charger, or simply a charger, in a garage or on the outside of a house. 147. 148. As of 2021, typical home chargers are 7 kilowatts, but not all include smart charging. 147. Compared to fossil fuel vehicles, the need for charging using public infrastructure is diminished because of the opportunities for home charging. Vehicles can be plugged in and begin each day with a full charge. 149. Charging from a standard outlet is also possible but very slow. Public charging. Charging station at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This station is run by Petrobras and uses solar energy. Public charging stations are almost always faster than home chargers. 150. With many supplying direct current to avoid the bottleneck of going through cars AC to DC converter. 151. As of 2021, the fastest being 350 kilowatt. 152. Combined charging system, CCS, is the most widespread charging standard. 140. Whereas the GB/T27930 standard is used in China, and CHAdeMO in Japan. The United States has no de facto standard, with the Microsoft CCS, Tesla superchargers, and CHAdeMO charging stations. Charging an electric vehicle using public charging stations takes longer than refueling a fossil fuel vehicle. The speed at which a vehicle can recharge depends on the charging station's charging speed and the vehicle's own capacity to receive a charge. As of 2021, some cars are 400 volt and some 800 volt. 153. connecting a vehicle that can accommodate very fast charging to a charging station with a very high rate of charge can refill the vehicle's battery to 80% in 15 minutes. 154. Vehicles and charging stations with slower charging speeds may take as long as 2 hours to refill a battery to 80%. As with a mobile phone, the final 20% takes longer because the systems slow down to fill the battery safely and avoid damaging it. Some companies are building battery swapping stations to substantially reduce the effective time to recharge. 155. 156. Some electric cars, for example, the BMW i3, have an optional gasoline range extender. The system is intended as an emergency backup to extend range to the next recharging location, and not for long-distance travel. 157. Electric roads. Electric road technologies which power and charge electric vehicles while driving were assessed in Sweden from 2013. 158. 12. The assessment was scheduled to conclude in 2022. 159. The first standard for electrical equipment on board a vehicle powered by a rail electric road system, ERS, Sanelec Technical Standard 50717, has been approved in late 2022. 160. Following standards, encompassing full interoperability and a unified and interoperable solution for ground-level power supply, are scheduled to be published by the end 2024, detailing complete specifications for communication and power supply through conductive rails embedded in the road. 161. 162. First permanent electric road in Sweden is planned to be completed by 2026. 163. On a section of the E20 route between Hallsberg and Örebro, followed by an expansion of further 3,000 kilometers of electric roads by 2045. 164. A working group of the French Ministry of Ecology considers ground-level power supply technologies the most likely candidate for electric roads. 165. And recommended adopting a European electric road standard formulated with Sweden, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, Poland, and others. 166. France plans to invest 30 to 40 billion euro by 2035 inches in electric road system spanning 8,800 kilometers that recharges electric cars, buses and trucks while driving. Tenders for assessment of electric road technologies are expected to be announced by 2023. 165. Vehicle-to-grid, uploading and grid buffering. During peak load periods, when the cost of generation can be very high, electric vehicles with vehicle-to-grid capabilities could contribute energy to the grid. These vehicles can then be recharged during off-peak hours at cheap rates while helping to absorb excess nighttime generation. The batteries in the vehicle serve as a distributed storage system to buffer power. 167. Lifespan. As with all lithium-ion batteries, electric vehicle batteries may degrade over long periods of time, especially if they are frequently charged to 100%. However, this may take at least several years before being noticeable. 168. A typical warranty is 8 years or 100,000 mi, 160,000 kilometers, 169. But they usually last much longer, perhaps 15 to 20 years in the car and then more years in another use. 170. Currently available electric cars. Sales of electric cars. Tesla became the world's leading electric vehicle manufacturer in December 2019. 171. 172. Its Model S was the world's top-selling plug-in electric car in 2015 and 2016. 173, 174. Its Model 3 has been the world's best-selling plug-in electric car for 4 consecutive years, from 2018 to 2021, and the Model Y was the top-selling plug-in car in 2022. 175, 176, 177, 178, 179. The Tesla Model 3 surpassed the Leaf in early 2020 to become the world's cumulative best-selling electric car. 19. Tesla produced its 1 millionth electric car in March 2020, becoming the first